Hi beautiful friends! Today I'm so excited to be filming 24 new June Cozy Mystery releases. I do this video every single month on my channel. I'll link my playlist above, and we're just going to be talking about 24 cozy mysteries that are coming out in June of 2025. And let's go ahead and start with our first book. So our first book has a gorgeous cover style. It's kind of unique and a really fun title. It's called Light Roast Larceny, a coastal coffee mystery. It's coming out on June 1st and it's written by Kate Montgomery and illustrated by Ki Charm Kim. So Cece Larkin wasn't planning to become an amateur sleuth. She just wanted to figure out her next chapter after an unexpected layoff. Now her days are filled with mystery novels, misadventures, and cooking for her husband, and walks with her two tiny but mighty dogs under the Florida sun. She's built a strong community with the retirees surrounding her, and she's fiercely protective of her friends. When a string of odd, petty thefts starts rattling her coastal community, Cece can't help but get curious. Why would someone steal trinkets and items easily missed? It doesn't add up, and Cece's determined to find out why. With the help of a sharp-witted local police officer and fueled by iced coffee and intuition, Cece follows the trail of clues through her tight-knit neighborhood and sandy side streets. But the deeper she digs, the stranger and more dangerous the mystery becomes. Can Cece and her new friend solve the case before things get out of hand? Or will their seaside sleuthing brew up more trouble than they bargained for? I just love the cover style for this. I usually like the more intricate illustrated covers, but this one I love the cover colors on it. I feel like it's so calming to look at, and I've never heard of this author before, so I'm really excited. Next we have one from one of my favorite supernatural or paranormal cozy mystery series, and it is unfortunately the final book in the series, and that is the Nightmare Arizona mystery series. It's called Body at the Bakery. It's written by Beth Dolgner, and this will be coming out on June 1st. So our main character in this is Olivia, and in the first book she's on her way to California when her car breaks down in this small town called Nightmare, Arizona, and she takes a temporary job at a haunted house because she needs the money. She's broke, she was recently divorced, she's in a really bad place in life right now. Everything's going wrong for her basically. And she takes a job, and the haunted house might actually be haunted or have like real paranormal people in. And in this particular one, a landlord is found dead. And Body at the Bakery is also especially exciting because since it is the last book in the series, you finally get to see what the ending to the overarching mystery is, which I'm really excited for. So while I'm really sad to see that the series is wrapping up, I am very excited for it as well. So this next one made my most anticipated releases for this year. I will link it above if you haven't seen that video, and this is called Body at the Book Fair, a secret bookcase mystery. It's book 6 in the series by Ellie Alexander. This is also the last book in the series, and it is coming out on June 16th. And this one takes place in Northern California, this beautiful small town. Our main character is Annie, and she works at this Agatha Christie themed bookshop. But in this one, her and one of the other employees, Fletcher, who I love, are going to this like book fair nearby. So there is an overarching mystery in this cozy mystery series, which I've actually really been enjoying, and then this one Annie will be wrapping it up. She's going to be doing some snooping around since she'll be closer to some of the business people who are involved possibly with the mystery she's trying to solve, and she's also on the brink of opening her own detective agency. To the best of my knowledge, there is going to be a spin-off series with the same characters like Annie and Fletcher with their detective agency in the future, which I'm excited for, because if I have to say goodbye to a series I love, I'm really excited that there's a chance for me to see them in the future. So an industry colleague is murdered at the book fair, so on top of trying to solve this overarching mystery, Annie and Fletcher are trying to sort through all the book fair participants and figure out who done it. I love Ellie Alexander. Her writing is phenomenal, and the series I think is my favorite from her, honestly, which is really hard to pick because I've read a few and loved them. Next we have one from an author that haven't read anything from before, and it's called Welcome to Murder Week by Karen Dukes. This is coming out on June 10th, and this is described as a heartfelt new novel about an American woman who travels to the English countryside where she discovers tickets her late mother had purchased for a murder mystery simulation in a small British town. Everything about this is kind of giving me like Freya Sampson vibes, like The Last Chance Library, which deals with grief and is like kind of cozy but has like the character sorting through her feelings and stuff, and this one kind of gives me some similar vibes. So Kath is our main character. She's 34 years old. She wasn't very close to her mother. It sounds like, you know, the loss isn't hitting her extremely hard because they were kind of estranged, but she is going through her things as she finds these tickets for this murder mystery event in a small British village, and she decides to take 2 of her cottage mates. Wyatt, who is this man who works in a shop, he's kind of just going through life, going through the motions, but he's kind of stuck in life. And then this woman named Amity, who is a divorced romance writer, and she's also kind of struggling with her life. All three are kind of at a crossroads in their life, and they're gonna kind of, I think, figure those crossroads out at the Murder Mystery Festival. I'm not sure if there's an actual murder at the Murder Mystery Festival, but I thought this just had such a fun, interesting theme to it that I wanted to include it. This next one is so fun and cozy. I love the cover. It's called Murder, Moonlight, and Meringue, a Southern Paranormal Cozy Mystery. This is the Southern Sweets and Magical Treats, book 1 in the series by Ashley E. Shannon, and it's coming out on June 26th. And this one's kind of giving me Danielle Garrett Sugar Shack Witch vibes, which is a series I've recently been listening to and loving. So this one got me really excited because it's also kind of like supernatural, baking, and it just looks fun, but this one's Southern, which I thought would be really fun. So our main character is Rowena, or Ro, and she's never planned to stay long in Eureka Falls. 3 days tops, just enough time to attend her ex-best friend's wedding, dodge her former flame, who is the detective, and sneak a slice or 3 of her aunt's famous lemon chiffon cake from their enchanted bakery, Confection Perfection. But when Rosie Little, co-owner of rival shop The Whimsical Whisk, is found face down in a bowl of wedding cake batter after a very public spat with Ro's aunts, the weekend goes from awkward to downright deadly. The crime scene hums with magical residue, and all the evidence points straight to Bertie and Blanche Harris. With their aunts facing jail time and the future of their bakery on the line, Rowena has no choice but to channel her inner sleuth. Teaming up with Kenzie, a sharp-tongued baking assistant with a knack for truth spells, Ro begins unraveling a tangle of small-town secrets. Turns out Rosie had more enemies than recipes, and someone in town was desperate to keep their secrets buried. I love this. This one really gives me similar vibes to that other series that I adore, and it's Southern, and I just love that her aunts are close to her and she's in town. Oh, this one looks so cute. Next we have A Murder for Miss Hortense by Mel Pennant. I'm not sure if this is going to be a series, but this is coming out on June 10th. Our main character is a retired nurse, avid gardener, and renowned cake maker. So Miss Hortense lives in a quiet suburb of Birmingham, England, and she's actually an immigrant from Jamaica from the 60s. She has a lot going for her. She's very fearless. She's not afraid to talk to anyone, and was a part of this community called the Partner Community, which was a local group of Black investors that she helped to found until for some reason she was kind of kicked out or like ousted from the community. But someone in that community is murdered, and Miss Hortense decides to get involved because she is a fearless sleuth, and I love this. So one of them is actually murdered. There's the strange like Bible verse that's on a note next to the body. It's very mysterious, and it might connect back to her past. I love this. I think this has a really interesting premise for it. I don't know if it's going to be a series. It doesn't state on the Amazon page that I'm looking at, but I really love the cover and the premise for this one. By Isis Crawford, we have a mystery with a recipe cozy mystery series. This one's called A Catered Bake Off, and it's coming out on the 24th. And this one surrounds sisters Bernie and Libby, who are taking their catering company to a baking competition in upstate New York. And this is one of my favorite tropes in cozy mysteries, especially a baking competition. So the sisters are at this estate and they're like, it's a baking show, what can go wrong? Well, a lot can apparently. I mean, someone lets loose goats through the set, there's a bunch of other intense, fiercely competitive competitors, and one of the judges is murdered. So the sisters get involved in this case. I love the cover for this, it's so beautiful. By Dale Mayer, we have a lovely Lethal Gardens rewind, book 2 in the series. It's called Yipped and the Yams, and it's coming out on the 3rd. So in this one, the captain suggests that Doreen work on a case because she's kind of going through some boredom, and she jumps at the chance because if he's giving her permission, well, why not run with it? But this case is really hard because it involves an unsolved murder of a baby. These were long forgotten and unidentified bones of a baby, which is going to be really hard for her to go through, and it seems like nobody wants to talk about the case, even like relatives or family. She finds out that there are family members still alive who are related to this little girl, but they do not want to talk except for one of them, and then that person is found dead the next morning. Crazy. I haven't read this series, but it looks really interesting. Let me know if you've read it. I thought this next one had such a fun premise. It's written by Lucinda Race, and it's called Ghosts and Gowns, a craft and ghost cozy mystery, a dress designer cozy mystery, book 1 in the series, and this is coming out on June 3rd, 2025. This one has such a fun combination of different elements that I really enjoy. We have a reluctant psychic and amateur sleuth and dress designer Claudia Grant. She just wanted a fresh start. She inherits her late Uncle Herman's charming dress shop in Drake's Bay, and she expects sewing machines, not a resident ghost. But Uncle Herman's spirit is very much alive. well dead, and desperate for Claudia to uncover the truth behind his untimely demise. On Claudia's very first morning on the job, she befriends Beth, the next-door knitting shop owner, and discovers she's the beneficiary of her late uncle's estate. Then a mysterious man phones claiming Herman promised him the shop. Before Claudia can stitch up the loose ends, she finds herself standing over the man's body with a gun in her hand and the local police breathing down her neck. With help from her spectral uncle, an adorably aloof dress shop cat, and a handsome and highly skeptical town cop, Claudia must unravel a tangle of clues and small-town scandals before the real murderer claims another victim, or before Claudia ends up in cuffs or as a ghost permanently. It does say that these can be read as a standalone. Of course, this is the first book, but the series should be read as a standalone or in order depending on your preference. I thought this had such a fun premise, and I love the idea of a dress shop. I love dresses, so no surprise there. This next one is a series I keep meaning to start. It looks so cute. It's by Simone Stier, and it's called A Brew of Blunders. This is a cafe crimes cozy mystery. It's book 9 in the series, and it's coming out on June 3rd. So summer's heating up in Magnolia Grove, and Parker and the rest of the town are attending the opening night of Murder by the Decades, which was supposed to be a smashing hit. Instead, they discover a mystery at intermission, and this throws the town into a frenzy. Parker is just having a lot of problems right now. Her cafe's air conditioning goes out in the middle of summer. Not good. Then her apartment flunks an inspection, so she's staying with a friend who has house rules, like a huge list, and it's driving her insane. And then the theater where this mystery happens is threatened with closure, so she has to go through and interview all the divas and figure out what exactly happened to try to save the theater. And there's a Boston Terrier on the cover, so, you know, I'm a little partial to that. But the series looks so fun. I've heard some really amazing things about it. Next, we have a historical mystery series by an author I've read before, but I haven't read this specific series. This is a 1940s Singaporean mystery by Ovidia Yu. It's called The Rose Apple Tree Mystery, and it is book 9 in the Su Lin series. This will be coming out on June 5th. So this takes place in Singapore in 1947. Our main character is Su Lin, and she is a recent newlywed. She and her husband are traveling to an island, but this isn't a honeymoon, unfortunately. This is actually a police protection assignment. So her husband, Lee Froy, is protecting this powerful businessman named Max and his wife, Alfreda, who are under recent threat because some of their colleagues have been murdered. But unfortunately, his wife Alfreda goes missing with a stash of emeralds, and there's some weird clues with like a fruit tree, and just it's very ominous. So Lefroy is going around trying to figure out what happened, trying to figure out where the wife is, and then they find the husband Max's body. So now they're desperate to find the wife before something happens to her. I have read Ovidia Yu's Auntie Lee's mystery series, and I want to continue it, so I'm really excited to see that she has another series. This one is one I'm definitely interested in checking out. Next, we have one from a series that I started last year and really enjoyed. This is the Deadly Deadlines mystery series by Gerri Lewis. It is book 2 in the series, and it's called Grave Words. It'll be coming out on June 10th. And our main character, Winter Snow, is an obituary writer, which is a really interesting angle for the cozy mystery series. So Winter Snow's business is in a bit of a drought, so she happily accepts this assignment to write an obituary for this homeless man named Chester who was found dead in a burned building. However, as she starts to dig into his life, she can't find his last name, she can't find relatives, like she can't find anything on this man, and then the police reveal that he was actually murdered and the fire was to cover up like clues to the murder. It was supposed to be like a cover-up situation. And then her friend Scoop, who is a reporter, is implicated in the murder because he was the last person to see Chester alive and maybe has some other connections to him. So Winter Snow gets involved in another case. I thought the last one was really, really good. It's a little bit darker, at least book 1 was, than your average cozy, but it was really solid. By Matilda Swift, we have the next book in the Parchment Paper Mysteries. This is actually a prequel novella to the Parchment Paper Mysteries, and this is called Artichoke, Heart of Darkness. So Jessica is our main character, and she's the black sheep of a renowned book-selling family and a sugar-coated rebel with a whisk. She's hitting the national stage and trading the quiet bookshelves of Little Quillington for the bustling Chatsworth House Food Festival. And she's ready to roll with her glittery pink food truck, the Rolling Pin, as a contestant on the Great British Street Bakes Showdown. But the heat of the competition turns lethal when a judge collapses after sampling the baker's delights, including Jessica's coconut creation. Suddenly, suspicion hangs thicker than buttercream. With the police eyeing foul play and her fiercely loyal best friend Pippa caught in the crosshairs, Jessica must trade her spatula for sleuthing skills. Navigating a tent filled with simmering rival bakers and the high-stakes pressure of television, the clues are proving harder to find than a poppy seed in a fruitcake. Will Jessica be able to solve this in time? This is a series that I had on my want to start list this year. It just looks so interesting, and I love that there's a prequel novella coming out. By Ellery Adams and Tina Radcliffe, we have the next book in the Hope Street Church Mysteries. It's book 9 in the series called Dying to Sell, and this is coming out on June 17th. So in this one, there's a very unlikable real estate agent who's really trying to strong arm some elderly folks to selling their homes, I'm assuming at not like a very good deal. So Grammy Lee reports this to the Bible study group at the church, who has been involved in some sleuthing efforts in the past. So they start to investigate, and they are not liking what they're finding with this man. He doesn't seem like a very good person. But before Cooper and the gang can do anything about him, he's actually bumped off. And now the federal government is actually looking into this, and so Grammy and the Bible study group are worried for their safety. They're thinking this is a very high-risk mystery, but they're still looking around. I haven't read this series, and I love Ellery Adams, so I'm really excited. This one is definitely going on my TBR. This next one is by Molly MacRae. This is the Haunted Shell Shop Mystery, and it's called There Will Be Shell to Pay, and it's coming out on June 24th. So Maureen is still getting used to the shell business and figuring out how to sell things, and the fact that a Welsh pirate haunts her shop. I believe they're from the 18th century. And recently she's found this artwork that's kind of rare, and it turns out to be this antique artwork that was stolen from Maureen's late husband many years ago. The pirate ghost finds it, and then very mysteriously this husband and wife, the wife's name is Lenora, come to the shop and they ask about the artwork. But how do they know about it? And then her pirate ghost friend shares that he doesn't think the wife is who she says. And they do some digging up on her and some research, and it looks like she might be a different person. There's some rumors about her being part of this like fig lady, this fig appreciation group, which I think they're talking about figs, like the fruit. I've never heard of a fig appreciation group, but I'm really curious, and they seem to have a different idea of who this person is than who Maureen met, so there's kind of an interesting mystery going on about how did they know about the artwork? Are they who they say they are? There's also an unsolved body that's been found, and this one looks really good. This is definitely my TBR. I think this will make a fantastic summer read. By Tonya Kappas, we have a new series, and I'm not 110% sure if this is completely cozy. I don't know. But I'm including it, so just fair warning, it might be slightly less cozy. I'm not really sure. Let me know if you know more details. But I want to include it because I know Tonya Kappas is a very popular cozy author. It's called Ranch and Red Herrings. This is a Bluegrass Ridge ranch mystery. It is book 1 in the series, and it's coming out on June 27th. So our main character is Georgia, and she has long since turned in Kentucky for big city life. She thought she put that life behind her. Till her uncle dies, and she goes back to settle his affairs. She's taking care of farm chores, and then a body is found on the ranch, which she can't exactly ignore, so she gets involved with that. But now she's tangled up in long-held grudges and neighbors who remember everything about everyone except who might have had a motive to kill. And I'm really curious about this one. I love the cover. It's definitely kind of a unique art style. Let me know if you know more about whether or not it's cozy. It's got some cozy elements for sure, the small town life, this like amateur sleuth, but let me know if you know for sure because I couldn't quite confirm that. This next one has such a fun cover and theme. It's written by Lynn Cahoon, and it's called An Amateur Sleuth's Guide to Murder, a Bainbridge Island mystery, book 1 in the series, and it's coming out on June 24th. So it says, tip 1, what doesn't kill you counts as work experience. Meg could use a guidebook for life. She's faced some challenges. She dropped out of college to work for a tech startup that failed. Her fiance just took her bridesmaid to Italy on what was supposed to be her honeymoon. And at 26, Meg has taken the ferry ride of shame from Seattle back to Bainbridge Island to live with her family. At least she has her rescue Cocker Spaniel Watson by her side. But it's Meg who could use a rescue, and she's hoping it will come in the form of a part-time gig doing research for a best-selling mystery writer. Tip number 2 is write what you know or what you want to know. That's when the light bulb goes off. Meg will write her own guidebook, a manual on criminal investigation. But before she can impress her new boss with her pet project, the author's manager is found dead on the rocks beneath the author's Gothic mansion. Now it's time to put her guide to the test as Meg sets out to clear her employer of suspicion and solve the crime. But there's one important caveat she'll have to add in her guide. Beware of unknown danger. I think the cover for this is so unique, and I love the premise and the setting. This sounds really fun. By Erin Scott, we have a new release in the Murder at the Morrissey, and this is book 6 in the series. It's called A Rooftop Ransom, and it does take place during the summer. So Meg, her summer is booked. She's helping run an artist pop-up near the waterfront. She's getting to know her dad. She's like, there's a bunch of family subplots that sounds like are kind of solved throughout this book series. And she's kind of imposed upon with an unwanted house guest. And this is Laurie's cousin Trenton, who needs a place to stay for the summer. Meg lets him stay. She's not really thrilled with it, and it becomes apparent after a little bit that he's probably involved with something shady, which makes her very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, a dead body shows up, and this really arouses her suspicions about Trenton, and she's trying to clear his name for her cousin's sake. This is a series I really want to start. Coming out on June 10th, we have another one by Agatha Frost. This is called Peach Blossom Peril, a Claire's Candles cozy mystery. It's book 12 in the series, and this takes place in the spring. So the town's art gallery is preparing this big exhibit with a very rare painting, and this painting goes missing, which looks really bad for Claire's boyfriend, who is the manager, like owner of the gallery. So she gets involved in the case. So she's in this tangled web of ambition and rivalry between different artists and art stores, and it quickly becomes apparent that a lot of people had motive. I just love the covers for this series. They're so cozy, and I really love the idea of a candle cozy mystery series. By Kathleen Suzette, we have an ice cream cozy mystery perfect for summer. This is called Triple Scoop of Mystery, a Cookies Creamery mystery. It's book 15 in the series, and it's coming out on June 5th. So Maddie is finally getting married to her love, and she's so excited. They have family flying in. Everything's gonna be gorgeous, their beachfront wedding, until the owner of the beachfront is murdered. And because her husband-to-be is a detective, he's pulled into the investigation on what was gonna be their honeymoon week. And she's like, I need to get involved. I need to solve this. This is not good. So Maddie and Chloe jump in and do some sleuthing of their own to try to solve this and get her wedding back on track. I just love ice cream as a theme for a cozy mystery. It looks so summery. By Cheryl Dugan, we have another book in the Northern Lights cozy mystery series. It's book 3 in the series called Stalls and Scandals, and it's coming out on June 26th. So main character in this is Cassie Brooks, and she is at this farmer's market. She thought the biggest drama might be some, vegetable produce or something gone bad, but that's quickly thrown out the window when the funds for the farmer's market go missing, and everyone's starting to look at each other suspiciously. And she starts to dodge accusations herself because she's worried about her reputation, so she gets involved in trying to figure out what happened to this missing fund. On top of that, a deep-rooted family scandal bursts through the surface during her investigations, which is also taking up some of her time. The covers for this really catch my attention. I haven't heard anything about this series, but if you have, let me know. By Amy Patricia Mead, we have Foul Play in La Playa, a Vermont country living mystery book. It is book 4 in this series, and this is coming out on June 17th, 2025. Love the cover for this. Our main characters, Stella, and it sounds like her partner or boyfriend or something, Nick, decide to join their friends who are getting married at this beautiful destination in Mexico. They're celebrating, and they're like, yeah, let's escape from Vermont. It's really cold during the winter. Let's go to Mexico and have a sunny, fun time. They discover that the previous occupant in the bungalow had mysteriously died, and then another guest goes missing. So they start to dig into this, and they discover that one of the guests was a very loud, kind of unlikable woman who seemed to collect information about everyone that maybe they didn't want to be known. So maybe she was like a blackmailer or something, and they get involved in the case. This one sounds really fun. I believe it takes place during winter, but it is a very summery, sunshiny setting, which is fun. Last but not least, we have one by Donna Clancy. It is book 5 in the Shipwreck Cafe mystery series. It's called Summer, Scallops, and Murder, and it's coming out on June 10th. And it takes place in August during the first annual Scallop Festival. So unfortunately, all of the vendor spots at this festival are filled, but this woman named Miss Opal is demanding she still gets one even though she was late to apply. So she's picking fights with Jay. She's trying to just get her way, and she's being refused, which she's not happy about. And then she is found dead, and everyone looks at Jay as a suspect in this murder. And Jay is the local cafe owner, and the public around them is just looking at them because they've all witnessed these public fights that they've had, and they start to sleuth around to try to solve it and clear Jay's name. I haven't heard of this series before, but it looks really fun. Anyways, guys, that is all for me today. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. Please let me know, what are your top 3 cozy mystery releases for June? Which ones are you most excited about? I know that's a hard question. I'm gonna leave mine down below. but it's gonna be hard. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to watch more Cozy Mystery Release videos, I have a playlist linked above, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I do these videos every single month, and I talk about everything cozy and mystery related on my channel, whether that's cozy mysteries, thrillers, anything on that spectrum, every week on my channel. So thank you for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!